As our plotline takes place partly in a class-obsessed city, it is natural for our film to portray strong connotations of the polarizing ends of the wealth spectrum. This is represented by the two teenage protagonists of the opening scene. The first protagonist we see, played by Keira Marshall, is portrayed as the wealthier of the duo, having grown up in a wealthy part of the city. Many would associate inherited wealth with naivety. However, in the first scene we see her in, she is seen questioning the information that is being fed to her. This scene helped to initially portray her, and thus those in the same class as her, as intuitive, dispelling the connotations of naivety. However, later in the opening, as she is seen verbally rebuked by Derek's character, we see her simply accepting what she is being told without ever second guessing it, showcasing how she accepts the words of others as truth, a quality generally associated with naivety. This helps to symbolize the naivety and corruptibility of the wealth within the city, and immediately sets out the tone for the representation of its group. This all occurs whilst we see our main protagonist, played by Anna, escaping the confines of the oppressive city. Anna's character represents the lower class in the city, and so from natural experience living on the streets and such, she is more attuned to the lies and deceit that is propagated throughout. When we first see her, she is packing her bags to leave her home, which presumably she lives alone in. This serves to highlight how she and others of her class have been seemingly left to fend for themselves in the city, and the social class in general is portrayed to the audience as more sympathetic as a result of this. Thereafter, we view Anna's character attempting to escape the city, as she seemingly crosses vast distances and dangers to do so. This again serves to highlight her resolve and to showcase the lower class as the braver class of the city, and this feeling is furthered as we realise that she is doing so to find her sister. The lower class especially has always been strongly linked to family ties, and this is showcased throughout the film. The opening overall presents the rich and gullible as corrupt, while showing the poor as brave and independent, even though they must overcome great difficulties. Our protagonists are also both young females, whereas Derek's character, who seems to be the antagonist of the opening, is suggested to be male. Throughout the scene we see how this male character corrupts the minds of one of our protagonists through the use of passive-aggressive imagery, and as he is assumed to be a supporter of the city, we see how he has caused our main protagonist to leave. This setup is used to portray men as evil, as they have been corrupted with power, and would see that those who challenge them be banished or silenced. This is particularly striking, as some of the audience may relate to this, due to men traditionally holding higher wages and more seats of power in the real world. In contrast to this, the female group is portrayed as the brave heroes of the piece, as the protagonist attempts to escape the challenges imposed on her, presumably by men. This is a theme that many of the female characters in the audience may be able to relate to, due to the challenges that women face in the real world, and the representation of women is therefore more striking because of this.